Okay, so we're entering the home stretch. It's almost over. Has anyone noticed or written about the fact that M&O and Future Blues and all remasterings that I've heard have legitimately more surface noise on them than Rowdy and Mississippi Bottom? To my ears, greater amounts of surface noise, crackling like Rice Krispies, can create the impression that a rough and coarse vocal is rougher than it actually is. In other words, if the listener believes Brown isn't Bailey because Brown's vocals just sound much tougher and rougher, it could be the surface noise on M&O Blues and Future Blues that create this impression. And I mean, the vocals do sound a lot rougher on M&O and Future than they do on Rowdy up until the 50-second mark. And then once you get to that point, and then the next verse comes in, well, you know what I'm going to say. Anyway, of course, I'm purposely leaving out the obvious fact that vocals on Mississippi Bottom could never be misconstrued as being coarse. And this is because I addressed this in my previous video, showing how Rowdy starts off with the same soft vocals as Mississippi Bottom, but then morphs into coarse territory at the 50-second mark. This fact shows that Bailey, in quotes, could sing in both a sweet and soft, in both a sweet and rough manner, I apologize, just like Blind Willie Johnson. And, yeah. The man whose vocals started off sweet and angelic on Rowdy, but then became quite coarse and rough, is the same man whose vocals were sweet sweet throughout nearly all of Mississippi Bottom. Please excuse me because I'm doing this in the dark and I'm reading off two different phones and it's not easy. Also, the man whose vocals were coarse and aggressive throughout Future and M&O, which are full of surface noise, is the same man whose vocals sounded ever so slightly less coarse on Rowdy. If you put these two facts together, the only conclusion you can draw is that Brown is Bailey. So thank you for listening to this, everyone. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, you can leave a message here or send one to my inbox. I'm still not familiar with YouTube. I just wanted to get this out there because it was very clear to my ears what's going on, what's been going on all these years. And I think that if you're a guitar player, first and foremost, and you're more interested in guitar than you are in the human voice, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to come to a conclusion one way or the other. But if you are not a guitar player and or your primary interest in blues or older music in general is in the vocals, or at least in the lyrics, if that's the case, I don't see how or why you'd possibly come to a different conclusion than I have. Again, the anomaly is Mississippi Bottom Blues, where the vocals are very, very soft and romantic and light up until the end. But if you listen to the two Brown recordings, M&O and Future Blues, then you move on to Mississippi Bottom Blues, and then you go to Rowdy. That's the key. If you do it in that order, and you go to Rowdy fourth and last, you'll agree with me. I don't see how you couldn't, unless you're just focusing intently on guitar playing at the expense of listening to vocal nuances. And in some cases, to be honest with you, I don't want to sound like a jackass, but look, once you get to 50 seconds in Rowdy Blues, it's no longer a matter of nuances. All right? If you do only M&O and Future and then Mississippi Bottom Blues, you wouldn't be able to draw a conclusion one way or the other, or you'd say 70% chance that brown is not Bailey. But if you do it in the order I mentioned, and you finish with Rowdy Blues, same conclusion that I came to. So thank you for listening. Sorry I repeated myself 60 times, and I look forward to hearing from everyone and anyone. Adios.